Hey guys, I'm Samcrac. This is my Salvage Audi R8. And if you've been following along the rebuild process, you know in our last episode that we repaired our frame damage in the front corner of the car. Our shock mount was brought back in place, welded, and reinforced. Following that, I tried to reassemble the front corner suspension, but it turned out the front shock was bad. One of the rods was bent in it. A single factory shock on the R8 retails for over $2 grand. You know what they say about suspension components, right? Replace them in pairs. I wasn't about to spend $4,000 on a pair of mag ride shocks that are known to prematurely fail on these cars. So I called the guys at FCP Euro and I asked if they had a suspension solution that wouldn't totally kill the budget of this build. They recommended a coilover setup. It's height and compression adjustable, and the entire kit, all four corners, retails for substantially less than one factory Audi shock. And probably the best part, it's backed by their lifetime guarantee replacement policy, which means that if anything ever breaks or just simply wears out, they're gonna replace it totally free. It's an insane policy. Suspension components are wear items. I don't know how they do it, but they do. I'm gonna link FCP Euro in the description box below. If you're ever working on a European car, I highly suggest you check them out because they're crazy enough to back every single thing they sell. Now, you've heard enough from me. Let's jump right in and let's upgrade the suspension on our Audi R8. Passenger side coilover went in super easy, so I hopped on over to the driver's side. That also went in really easy. Everything fit really simple and it was really easy to adjust. Now I'm gonna leave all of this stuff undone for the time being because we'll probably need to do a little bit adjustment here and there before we decide the proper ride height. Let's get the rear off the ground, finish up the install so we can get the R8 out on the road. First rear corner is out. You can see it on the right here, the original mag ride shock. We've got the coilover on the left, and just the way it comes shipped to you, the coilover is set up quite a bit lower. We're gonna add a little bit of length to that, and so should be no sweat getting it back in. Just literally 2-3 bolts, then buttoning everything back up in there. right, our last coilover has been installed and set up just like all the other ones, and as far as height goes, it's set up just like the opposite side in the rear here. But before we button things up, I went ahead and took a couple of the covers off here in the engine bay, and that's because I mounted the MagRide delete modules. You can see there's one hiding right back there. The other one I went ahead and placed up here, and what those are little reservoirs that contain MagRide fluid in them, and they also have the same exact factory plug that goes into the factory harness that is like right there, and this will trick the car into thinking it still has MagRide installed, and so you won't get a light on the dashboard. This kit is $400 for the 4 modules, and so it's kind of pricey just to turn the light off on the dashboard. But if you really want to save money on a rebuild, what you can do is just put some black tape on your instrument cluster. I wonder if I actually did that and put the black tape on my instrument cluster, what you guys would say in the comments section below. Go ahead and let me know.
While we're on the topic of saving money, we still have 3 functional MagRide shocks that we just removed from the R8.
You can sell parts like this to offset the cost of your rebuild. Like I've told you before, those shocks retail for $2,000 a piece new. So if there's someone out there that just needs one of them, you can sell them used for around $300 to $500 a piece. And that will bring our costs back down and really give us the best bang for the buck, even though we already stole this car from the auction. All right, the ride height here on the passenger side, if we're using the center cap as our guide, it's right about 25 3/4 of an inch from the floor to the bottom of the fender. If we go around to the driver's side, we've got it as well at 25 3/4 of an inch. So the ride height, I think, looks really great. It looks basically right about where factory was, and I'm satisfied with it. It matches up. Now if we come to the rear, these are sitting pretty high. So I want to take at least about 1/4 of an inch out of this. We'll drop the rears down, and then we should have the perfect stance. All right, our suspension is installed. This will officially be the first drive following repairs of the frame and of course complete suspension replacement. All we have is the tire pressure light, which we can definitely check that in a moment. Otherwise, our suspension light is gone, no other major lights on. It's time to take it for a spin. All right, check out the stance. Tell me what you guys think. I think it's pretty much perfect. Looks very similar to factory. Really liking the way it came out here. I'm not planning on changing the height adjustment at all from here on out. I'm gonna go a couple different angles so you can see, and then you guys can let me know if you think it needs to be lower. I don't think it needs to be any higher. Now in the rear, it does kind of already look a little bit high, but I think this is a slight illusion. The fender liner that was there, I've removed it and I didn't put it back in because I've got to install one other piece in the rear end here, and it requires the fender liners to be completely removed. Other side looks pretty much exactly the same. We got a good amount of ground clearance for things like speed bumps. Now the one thing I might end up adjusting on the suspension before I button everything up is the compression. These shocks have 30 clicks in adjusting the compression. So if you leave the knob all the way up, that's as soft as possible. If you tighten it down 30 clicks, that's as firm as possible. Currently I have it 20 clicks in. Right now we'll see whether or not that's too stiff or if it feels pretty good. I know from the factory when you put the MagRide in the sport mode, it does get pretty stiff. So I want to match a feeling kind of like that. Well guys, it feels great. The suspension feels perfect. The car feels like new. I'm telling you, that weld repair really kept things. Whoa! Just kidding. That was just a joke for some of you guys last time that were giving me a hard time about the repair. We'll check it out. There's the weld. It looks no different than it did before. And like I'm telling you, seriously, this car feels amazing now. To think that a couple weeks ago I was pushing this car off a truck and now I'm able to drive it under its own power pretty much 100% blows my mind, especially for the ridiculous price I paid for it. I'm really thrilled with how this rebuild is progressing, but we're not quite done yet. There's a couple more things I have to button up and one modification I'll be bringing to you guys very soon that I'm really excited for. So I hope that you stay tuned for that. Of course, I also got to show you guys the process of taking it from a salvage title vehicle to a rebuilt vehicle so we can drive it here on US roads. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a huge like. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, right here, it's really simple, or you can just click the link in the description box below. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. I'll catch you very soon.